The setting sun bled across the horizon, turning the sky into a canvas of burnt umber and fading gold. On the edge of town, Captain Laura Bennett pushed open the heavy door of the community center, stepping inside after months away. She hadn't realized how deeply she'd missed the simple things, the creak of floorboards, the scent of stale carpet. But more than anything, she'd missed the sight of Mia. The thought of seeing her again sent a jolt of electricity through Laura, making her grip the straps of her duffel bag tighter. Laura had first met Mia during a routine visit to the town, a briefing on safety protocols, and although Laura had been skeptical, thinking it a waste of time, she'd found herself intrigued by the quiet force of the young woman in front of the class, from the way her brow furrowed when explaining complex medical procedures to the gentle touch she had with the nervous townspeople. Mia had left an impression. When Laura had offered to help carry supplies, Mia had replied, "No, ma'am, we can manage. You go rest. You look exhausted." Laura had laughed. Then, surprised by the playful lilt in Mia's voice. And she'd continued to be surprised week after week as they'd talked late into the night, sharing stories, dreams, fears. Back then, Laura had been hesitant. A May-December romance wasn't just frowned upon in their tight-knit community. It was unheard of. But love didn't always wait for the right timing. And in the stolen glances and lingering hugs, Laura had known she was falling for the fiery young woman who loved sunflowers and old classic movies. Months had passed since she'd last seen Mia, and as she navigated the familiar room, a sense of foreboding washed over her. She'd heard rumors from the other soldiers, whispers about trouble in paradise. Her heart clenched at the thought of losing Mia, a feeling as sharp and sudden as any combat injury. Yet there was no retreat from this battle, no surrender clause. She had to face her fear and talk to Mia. When Laura spotted her, her apprehension faded into relief. Mia sat on a chair near the window, her back to the fading light. Sunlight glinted off her hair, making it gleam like burnished copper. In her lap, a pair of tiny shoes lay abandoned, hinting at the miracle growing inside her. Laura hesitated, unsure how to begin, but Mia turned, her eyes lighting up, and suddenly the months of separation melted away. "Laura," she breathed, her voice catching with emotion. The room spun around Laura, blurring the edges of her vision. Time itself seemed to stop, and in that suspended moment, all that mattered was the woman in front of her. Laura swallowed, her throat hoarse. "Mia," she echoed, stepping closer. She reached out, her fingers hovering over Mia's rounded belly. "Can I?" she whispered, more to herself than Mia. A soft laugh broke the silence. "Of course," Mia replied, her hand rising to rest on Loreza. "Come sit." Laura sank into the chair beside Mia, and for a while they sat in comfortable silence, the weight of unspoken emotions pressing between them. As dusk deepened, Laura found her voice. "I heard things haven't been easy," she began, her tone gentle. Mia nodded, her gaze dropping to her lap. "People have been unkind," she admitted softly. "They say you'll regret it, that I'm too young, that it won't work." Laura squeezed her hand, her thumb tracing circles on Mia's skin. "What do you think?" she asked quietly. Mia looked up, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "I don't think anything can pull us apart now," she whispered. Laura's heart swelled, her love for Mia as boundless as the star-studded sky peeking through the cracks in the building's roof. "Then we won't let them," Laura vowed, her voice firm with newfound resolve. In the coming weeks, Laura and Mia became fixtures in the community center. Laura helped set up the clinic, organizing supplies while listening to Mia's plans for the future. She envisioned a world where people felt safe to love, where judgment didn't overshadow joy. Sometimes, though, the whispers followed them, slithering into their haven and coiling around their hearts. But Laura and Mia held each other close, their bond deepening with each passing day. One afternoon, while sorting through donated clothes, Laura felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to see Mrs. Hawthorne, a stern-faced woman who'd been particularly vocal about their relationship. Laura braced for criticism, ready to defend their love with every breath she had. But what Mrs. Hawthorne said surprised her. "I heard you two are expecting," she said, her voice surprisingly gentle. "I just wanted to tell you," she hesitated, "my grandson, he's gay. He's moving in with his partner soon." A slow smile spread across Laura's face. "Well, then you already know how important this is," Laura replied, her hand instinctively going to her belly. Mrs. Hawthorne nodded, understanding dawning in her eyes. "Your happiness matters, too," she said quietly, before turning to leave. "Thank you," Mia called after her, her voice thick with emotion. News of Mrs. Hawthorne's grandson spread like wildfire through the town, melting away the last of the resistance. People began to approach Laura and Mia with smiles instead of sneers, offering congratulations and words of support. For the first time, Laura allowed herself to dream of a life beyond the army, a place where she and Mia could build a home filled with laughter and love. The day arrived quickly, a crisp autumn morning, the sky a brilliant blue, mirroring the boundless hope in Laura and Mia's hearts. At the clinic, balloons bobbed in the light breeze, casting cheerful shadows on the ground. Friends and townspeople gathered, forming a circle around Laura and Mia, their faces a mix of excitement and anticipation. When the baby's cry rang out, echoing through the clearing, cheers erupted, drowning out any hint of sadness or fear. As Laura cradled her newborn daughter in her arms, she looked over at Mia, her heart overflowing. In Mia's eyes, she saw the reflection of their journey, the battles fought, the victories won. Together, they had faced the storm and emerged stronger, their love and family intact. Later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of rose and lavender, Laura sat rocking her daughter to sleep. Beside her, Mia nuzzled against Laura's shoulder, her voice soft. "What will you name her?" Laura asked, her gaze fixed on her sleeping child. "We've decided," Mia began, her eyes twinkling with mirth, "on Evelyn Rose." Laura's heart skipped a beat. "Like me," she whispered, a wave of emotion washing over her. "And like my grandmother," Mia added, a small smile gracing her lips. Laura glanced at Mia, truly seeing her for the first time in a long time, not just the fierce, spirited young woman she'd fallen in love with, but a mother, her hands rough from hard work, yet gentle on their child. The memory of her grandmother, a woman who'd loved fiercely and worked tirelessly for equality, suddenly resonated in a whole new way. It was as if the pieces of a puzzle had fallen into place, forming a picture of profound love and acceptance. A sob caught in Laura's throat. She couldn't speak, couldn't utter a word that would diminish the depth of feeling surging within her. Instead, she tightened her hold on Evelyn, burying her face in her daughter's soft neck. The scent of baby, a heady mix of milk and new life, mingled with Mia's familiar aroma, grounding her in the present. As the days turned into weeks, Laura reveled in the simplicity of life outside the barracks. Mornings were spent watching Evelyn learn to coo and smile, while afternoons were filled with walks to the sunflower field with Mia. The stigma that had once surrounded their love now seemed distant, replaced by the joyful chaos of family life. One evening, as the three women sat on their porch watching the sunset, Laura turned to Mia, her heart brimming with gratitude. "I never thought I'd be so happy," she confessed, her voice thick with emotion. Mia squeezed her hand, her gaze unwavering. "You deserve it, love," she whispered. "We all do." Laura's eyes welled with tears. She looked down at Evelyn, who was giggling, reaching out for a butterfly that had landed on her tiny hand. In that moment, Laura knew she was witnessing not just the innocence of childhood, but the triumph of love over adversity. Their journey had been long and arduous, but here they were, basking in the golden light of a shared sunset, their love story written in the stars above.